And we start with some bye-week conversations for the Arizona Cardinals because it feels like a perfect time for a mid-season contract extension announcement for James Conner and the Arizona Cardinals. It was a week ago today that the Carolina Panthers signed their running back to a long-term contract extension. They inked Chuba Hubbard to a 4-year, $33.2 million contract extension that will take him through 2028 and his age 29 season. And so is this a guide? Is this the market resetting for a potential James Conner extension? Well, let's break it down. The Cardinals have the ability to sign James Conner to a contract extension. They currently sit with $18.3 million in cap space for this year that they can use right this second, or they can use as rollover for 2025. Right now, they have the second most projected cap room for 2025 at $101 million behind only the New England Patriots. So they have a lot of cap space to operate. That is another reason to give credit to Monty Ossenfort and this front office for the job that they have been able to do, because they have rebuilt this team. And they have a quarterback who next year in 2025 is going to carry a $43.3 million cap hit. He is going to account for $43 million of the cap for this team in 2025. And yet they have all of this cap space. They have $18 million right now. They have $101 million this offseason. They have built this roster out with young players. They have developed these young players into contributors. Are they perfect? No. Is there a lot of work to be done? Absolutely. But they have the resources to do so. They have $101 million right now in projected cap going into this offseason. You don't think that Monty Ossenfort can do some damage with $101 million in the offseason? You don't think that this team can't get even better with the draft picks that this team has, the cap space that they have? They have all the resources that you would want to have as a general manager. Tons of cap space and all the draft picks. They're picking in the first round. They're picking in the second round. They have the ability to explore every single avenue to make their team better for 2025. So they have put themselves into a really nice situation with their drafting, their developing, their coaching, to have a roster of young players that can assemble the core of what you are doing. And I think that cap space, $101 million for next year, the 18 that they have right now, is the launching point for us to have this James Conner conversation. James Conner is 29 years old right now. I don't think you need me to give you the history of running backs over the age of 30 and what happens to them as they go to 30, to 31, to 32, as they get older. We don't need to do that. The track record isn't very good for long-term success. So they can do this from a financial perspective. They have the resources to do so, but they do need to be smart about it. Chuba Hubbard, the name that we invoked at the top of the segment, is a younger player, 28. They're paying him through his age 29 season. They signed him through 2028. He's signed through his age 29 season. So a younger player. His contract extension is going to end at the age where James Conner is right now, trying to get a contract extension. It's not apples to apples. There is another running back who signed a contract extension recently that is more apples to apples. Got to go down to New Orleans. Look at Alvin Kamara. At the end of October, about a week before Halloween, he signed a 2-year, $23.5 million contract extension with the New Orleans Saints that's going to have him play there through his age 31 season. Now, if you pull up the contract anywhere on Over the Cap or Spotrac, there's going to be a lot of void years. The money, it's all nonsense. It's all just things that teams do, but more importantly, the Saints do on a pretty regular basis to massage the cap and somewhat have flexibility, although the Saints don't really have a ton of flexibility. So don't mind just pay no attention to all that. They signed him to a 2-year contract extension. He is going to play his age 30 and age 31 seasons in New Orleans. That's what the contract extension did. It locked him up through his age 31 season. It moved some of the money around the way that he got it, the way that it counted against the cap for the Saints. So it was a cost thing for them. It changed some of the mechanics of the cap for them. But at the end of the day, for the sake of this conversation, it put Alvin Kamara in a position to play for the next 2 seasons, his age 30 and age 31 season with the New Orleans Saints. Well, that's exactly what James Conner would do on an extension with the Arizona Cardinals. So 2 years, $23.5 million breaks down to an annual average value of $11.75 million for Alvin Kamara. That has all those void years and caveats and money being reallocated. The Cardinals don't have to do any of that. They can offer a just nice, clean contract extension. They don't need to pull any of this cap voodoo and add void years and do all that stuff. They can just offer a clean contract extension for 2 seasons and not have to worry about paying him in year 3 and year 4 because of all the cap space that they have. Now, this season, Alvin Kamara, a better player than James Conner. It's close, but Kamara has better statistics. I don't want to take anything away from James Conner, but it's important for the value conversation. Spotrac, we've mentioned them a bunch here today on the show. They have his market value, James Conner, that is, at around $10 million. Derrick Henry, this past offseason, signed a 2-year, $16 million deal, 8 per year, at age 30. Aaron Jones signed a 1-year, $7 million deal at age 29. Would you, as a Cardinals fan, sign up for a 2-year, $20 million deal for James Conner that brought him through his age 31 season? Would you do it? Normally, I don't like paying running backs near the top of the market. And $10 million a season for a running back feels like it can be a little pricey. It feels like it could age poorly. But here's why I think this makes total sense. You're not really resetting the market in a big way. You're right in line with Alvin Kamara. You're right in line with Derrick Henry. It's in line with what the going rate is for these players. And it's a short-term commitment. It's a 2-year, maybe at most a 3-year commitment. It keeps the culture setter of your offense. It keeps the figurehead of your offense. It keeps the leader of your offense. And oh, by the way, it provides you the perfect platform to continue that development of young players that we talked about with Trey Benson. I could very easily see over the course of a 2 or 3-year contract extension for James Conner that at the beginning, he's the workhorse, he's the bell cow, Trey Benson is the complementary piece, and over the course of that 2 or 3-year contract, it completely flips. And then Trey Benson is the workhorse, he's the bell cow, and James Conner is the complementary piece. You are not paying James Conner on a 2 or 3-year contract extension to be a top 5 running back for the entire length of that contract. You are paying him because he is a linchpin of your team. You are paying him because he's a leader of your offense. He is the guy who sets the culture, but you are also paying him because he is the perfect mentor towards his eventual replacement in Trey Benson. And it puts you in the perfect spot to play this out over the long term. So get this done. Normally they like to announce these things during a bye week. This is the perfect time, the perfect chance to get this done. If not now, it's okay, but James Conner should be back next season.